Everybody's okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand as the
Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this is a combined work session and regular meeting of the board for January 8th. This is on the
Here, Mr. Hammerson.
Here.
Mr. Hill. Mr. Coons.
Here.
Mr. Jimmo.
Here.
Mr. Redwood.
Here.
Mrs. Bear. Here.
I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. Item B is recognition of meetings. December 4th, 6:45 to 6:58, the organization meeting, and December 4th, 2024, 7 to 8:20 was a regular board meeting, 8:25 to 8:35 executive for personnel. Item 2, presentations.
So that's with me this month, and it is January's Board Appreciation Month. And some members like Tim, have you in 30 years? Okay, feels like it. So veteran members like Tim, and again we have newer board members completing their first year, and we appreciate the service. So we do give you a nice little certificate. Typically, we take our board picture in January, but Laurel was under the weather, and we're going to have a couple other absences. What I will say is, next month, ready or not, get your hair done, Seth. Yeah, get your best shirt on, Dave. Maybe your best ball cap. I don't know. You even wear it tonight. And, and we will take our board picture at the work session, which is February. Call it 4th. Okay, at 6:45. Yes.
How close am I to my 30-year plan?
Looking forward to that.
I'm excited. Close.
You can meet. I think I need to schedule a Peasers meeting. So
Jeff and I have been about the same amount of time, and the pay's been about the same.
yeah, well, the appreciation from the Laurel community makes up for the absence of salary, I'm sure. So in any event, in all seriousness, this is not an easy job. You make decisions over a $20+ million budget that impacts every household in the Laurel community. I have found this board composition rather rewarding. I have found this board to be inquisitive. I have found this board to take their job very seriously, and I want to thank you for that. It's been a joy to work for this board, and when I say this board, the new configuration here in its second year, it's been wonderful growing together with you. So thank you, and little certificate keeps us budget friendly with all your rewards. Maybe next year we will go to Maryland or some other resort. Jeff, only costs about $20,000 and take all of us there.
We're not going.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Administrator Supervisor reports. Mr. Smith.
Driver meeting in December before we went on Christmas break, just trying to keep everybody positive to come back this year. They must be positive. First day back, obviously 6:30 in the morning, snowstorm. Nobody was late at all. Everybody was there, and we got through it. Everything was good.
According to Facebook, it was the end of the world.
I didn't have one driver complain, like, why did we come this? And they complained about the roads not being taken care of, but they were all positive and seemed to be doing it. Just doing routine state inspections and preventive maintenance as they come due. Also, some of the bigger projects was EGR cooler on bus 87, And we always got different projects going on, like different repairs every day, something going on. That's about the highlight of December.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Snyder?
State of Laurel. Be in February. When's the last time we bought a bus?
Per year.
Probably want to start our discussions.
We haven't bought none for 3 years. I mean,
Okay. How many do we have that are 10 years old, that are every day, not backups?
our everyday stuff is about 10 years right now.
The oldest.
You're gonna recommend one or two?
I would say one. I think two will be shocking sticker price. But there is a couple companies now that have some, we ordered a bus now, we probably get 26. They have some 25s they have in stock right now, so I'll get some numbers on
I
that.
think we need to look at that too. Like, I think the last time we bought
What
something
they,
right up the lot.
yeah, what they put that on.
Right, and I think there are some advantages to that, not only in the timeliness, but maybe actually in some pricing. But don't forget, in the not too distant past, the new bus was 78,000, 80,000. What are you gonna, is it under 100?
Don't know. 20. But that's what's quoted before, but like I said, what the stuff in stock will be, but it's gonna be close to 100 for lower.
So we can either buy like a used Ferrari for a driver's ed program or a bus.
And we're all gas engines.
Well, what?
Gas engines?
No, we'll stick with diesel. We got 2 gassers and 2 propane right now.
Okay, rest of diesel.
Hey, what are you thinking your recommendation will be on the new one? Go back to diesel?
Yes. Longevity for transmissions. Longevity for the engine too. We ain't had no problems with the gas, there's too much, but I can see we're wearing brakes out more on them. We don't have any exhaust brakes on the diesels. We got 4 transmissions behind the gases and the propanes, and I don't think they're as good as the diesel Allisons. Our main runner is a 2015, but we do run a 2010 for the Amish and our Head Start bus. So our main runners are 2015, the oldest, all the way up to 23. So 3 years ago, we bought a 23.
Off the lot.
Yes.
Any other
And
questions?
we bought a van or something last year or two.
Well, we haven't even caught the van that we're supposed to get last year. It was supposed to come in January. So hopefully they can. Okay. The vans were bought 2 years ago. Yeah, they're 23 models also. Yeah, they're 23 models. Fine.
Any other questions for Mr. Snyder?
Mr. Jones.
We replaced a bunch of stuff in some unit systems between elementary and high school, mainly between transformers and actual blower motors. We did Lenny's favorite thing here. We did the ice machine and lifted the cabinets in the library for the cafe. That was done. The shelving in the front lobby for the gymnasium. It's been, since I started here, they finally installed last week. And, the back door, the bottom of the stairwell, the teachers, how they get in with the fobs, the actual actuator went out of the door that releases it. So we put that expensive system in, fixed it, and actually, I'd just like to say thanks to all my crew for last weekend during the wrestling week. We actually had 12 to 13 hours with that mess between salting the outside and keeping inside clean and garbage. So I think they did a pretty fair job for what was handed to them.
One of the MAC committee members told me to set a new standard because we had a 5-mat tournament where previously they were all in one gym and 3 mats. So, you know, they were able to get 1.5 times as many matches going on at the same time. And they were able to finish Sunday at about 4:30 instead of 8, 9 o'clock. So, as far as any representatives from the MAC, all I got was confidence. So thank you to you and your guys. I also want to thank the wrestling program because they had to man 5 different mats. We had scorekeepers and clock timers and all kind of other things. It was quite an event to see.
We also have one of our own going to the Hall of Fame.
Jay Mattio went into the Hall of Fame with great timing to host the tournament. You know, they move it every 2 years. I know it's a lot of work, but it's also a nice public relations event for Laurel. You know, I would have I mean, not that it impacts me much, so it's easy for me to say, but I wouldn't mind hosting that tournament. That's a nice weekend. Plus, it was lousy weather, so our kids had home field advantage.
You see how many buses were parked here? It was a zoo.
Yeah.
But it's done, so we'll put that one in the books.
We made it.
Any other questions for Mr. Jones? Mr. Novak?
Mr. Jones, we covered everything pretty much.
You have one more meeting with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I smell pride and promise.
Any questions for Mr. Ward?
All right, we have hired the new school police officers, Bobby Joe Walker and Morgan Hill, both formerly of Hickory Township Police Department. So they're both officially hired here. They have their clearances in. They have their court orders turned in and pretty much ready to go. Officer Hill actually worked at the back tournament last weekend. So we got 2 more officers now to fill some shifts. And I really like the idea that we have, you know, a lot of the Hickory guys that lost their jobs now can come here and still work for our community. So I thought that was kind of nice. ProTech will be here next week installing a new security system here at the high school. So we're using grant money to pay for that, getting an all new security system here at the high school with different zones for entry. That's something we'll be working with the staff for, you know, being able to shut fobs on and off depending on times, having sign-ins, having control of the codes and who's coming and whatnot. So that's something nice.
So that's not cameras, that's the key.
That's just the entry security, but actually met with Dr. Lee and another person here today about the camera systems, and we might be working on a lot of stuff, you know, throughout the school year or over summer. So we got a lot. I got a lot of things that I'm trying to do with safety and security here over this school year, summer. We also did start a new, and some of you have kids at the elementary school, so we did a new parent pickup procedure at the elementary school, basically utilizing both sets of locked doors and keeping them locked until we're actually ready for the parents to come inside. In the past, before I got here, the first set of doors to the outside was open. People could come in and wait in the vestibule until we were actually ready and then open the doors and let them in. Unfortunately, this school year, and one time I was there, I just missed it. Somebody pushed through when one of our employees walked out, one of our special ed students, and just started walking around in school. And luckily someone's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm here to pick up my," like, "How'd you get in here?" So it's a safety issue. That's why we have the vestibule with 2 sets of doors. So I wanted to start keeping those locked like normal. And I know it's something new for parents, and they're used to being able to come and, you know, hang out for 20 minutes while they're getting live. Yeah, we gave Mr. Swervey. Yeah, Mr. Swervey sent out an email before Christmas, and we just started it after Christmas break. And I was there the first day to make sure, hey, if anyone has questions on here, I can answer them. But everything went smoothly, as smoothly as it could. And as far as that, I'm still going to be making some more changes down there probably with security measures and seeing who's in our building while the kids are still there. You know, I'm not quite satisfied yet. I want to do it. That's something that I'm working on to have the kids on.
Good evening, everybody. We're trialing a new Teach Town life skills curriculum K through 12. So Ms. Rich and Mrs. Long, it is a very comprehensive curriculum specifically designed for students with intellectual disabilities and autisms. And it covers academic, social skills, and transition skills. So we're really excited to trial this and see if there are benefits to it, because we don't have a comprehensive curriculum. We're kind of pulling stuff for students, so we want to see how that goes. We're continuing to work with Capable Kids for occupational and physical therapy services. And we have 18 students receiving OT and 7 students receiving PT, and they have been great with services, so we're just continuing with them. And earlier in the year, I had indicated that we received a grant, and so Allison Andre is our new speech and language. She began on Monday, and she'll be working under the supervision of Mrs. Jacobs through March. She'll be doing the MTSS for speech. She'll be conducting evaluations with supervision, as well as providing therapy with supervision. And for that, she will receive a $5,000 grant from PDE, which is beneficial to her as a student. So we're excited to have her.
Question,
Yes.
that whole closure, I know they weren't employees of ours, but they had employees here. How has that affected us?
That has affected 2 of our students who had TSS or BCS. So any student who had wraparound services, their TSS are no longer with us until they determine that. That has also affected the partial hospitalization program. We have 2 other options for partial hospitalization programming for students, though. I have a very good relationship with Human Service Center in Newcastle at the Pinnacle and Brighter Visions program. So I have the ability to utilize them. We already have a contract with them. And St. Stephen's also has a partial hospitalization program. So we still have access to 2 partial hospitalization programs if necessary.
Do you see anybody else coming up to replace that kind of, I mean, that's a hard.
No, and the primary issue, the primary concern is going to be they finally reopened their adolescent psychiatric hospitalization, and now we're back to not having a local psychiatric hospitalization for teenagers.
And I wonder why we have problems with these kids.
Yeah, and so that's what we're not going to be able to replace. Their students will be going to Belmont Pines or Southwood, or it's Clarion. They're far away. So it's definitely done.
So what do we, okay, so student A that had always had services out of Sharon Regional, what's that student doing now?
We're supporting them.
Okay, and in-house?
We're supporting them in-house with our aides, substitutes. Yeah. We're trying to meet those educational needs.
Okay,
And
my only question was, I didn't know if we had to move the students off site, but we're okay.
we have not. And hopefully, parents will be able to go to another agency for services.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Lee.
Hey, everybody. Busy first week coming back with Keystone exams. We started those today with literature. Tomorrow will be bio. Friday will be algebra. So no rest for those students who have to take those winter Keystones. As soon as you come back, they're right in your face. So we'll get those finished up this week. I had data meetings with my PSA and Keystone exam teachers. Good news between the first benchmark and the second benchmark in all grade levels and all disciplines. Those benchmarks increased from the September benchmark to the December benchmark. So obviously we're heading in the right direction as far as our benchmarking goes. We'll do another one February, March time, and then that'll take us into the spring exams and our prep for the PSA and the Keystone exams in April and in May. We'll be halfway through next Friday. Next Friday is day 90. So the end of the first semester will be Friday. We don't have school on that following Monday, and we'll start second semester on the 21st. So almost halfway through. And starting 25, 26 scheduling, that'll be real soon tonight. One of your 10 items is the course catalog. If you look at that document that's linked on the first page of the course catalog, has the summary of all the changes that are made, things that were added, things that were deleted. If you take a look, we've added a few more college and high school classes, which we're real excited for those opportunities for those students. So that's part of the agenda tonight.
second slide, I think, it's so ingrained in what we do here in Laurel that I had Ms. Palmer send me some information as a summary. I'm not sure how much anybody followed on PCN or anything with the farm show out in Hershey the last couple of days, but here's what she sent to me. Couple bullet points and some highlights. 12 new FFA members got their own jackets through the PA FFA Alumni Jacket Campaign. These students were chosen based on their essay applications. So that's exciting for those 12 students. 4 members earned their Keystone degree, which is the highest degree they can earn in the state of Pennsylvania. 4 students competed on stage, giving a demonstration on how to prepare animals for the show ring. And 2 square dance teams competed. 1 team earned a blue ribbon and 1 team earned a red ribbon. Once again, I think that's important for our school and our community to understand for those kids. So.
Well, those Keystone Awards are big.
Yeah.
That's not a participation trophy.
Correct.
They work hard for that.
Right. Yep.
Any questions for Mr. Lee?
Just one.
Yep.
How many educational days do we lose with testing?
Oh. So,
Be truthful.
yeah, well, winter Keystones take 3 days. Spring Keystones take 3 more days. That's 6. Spring PSSA, 2 for ELA, 2 for math, 1 for science. So what am I at? 11, 12 or something like that?
Not all the same grades.
Yeah. Well, if you're an 8th grader, and you're in algebra, you're taking PSSA math, PSA science, ELA, and the algebra keystone. So the 8th grade students that have algebra get hit the most.
Plus all the diagnostic testing.
Correct, with these benchmarks. So you can throw that in. We've done 2 benchmarks. That's at least 2 more class periods. We'll do another one. That's another one. So it's a good 2 weeks.
Gotta get that.
Gets them ready for the real world, you understand?
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't wait to get back from vacation to get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Did
Yes.
you know that was coming?
Yes, they knew.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Okay, Mrs. Thomas.
So, of course, in December, I had truancy hearings. I had 1 hearing in December. They were found guilty, and I actually have 3 this month coming up. We averaged between 93% attendance in the high school to 95 in the elementary for December, especially during, I guess it was like pneumonia season, whooping cough, strep throat, with all those wonderful germs going around. Academic games, we had 2 students that went undefeated in linguistics, and we had 5 other students that got certificates in the novice room, so they were new to the program. And today we sent 19 students in the elementary to the presidential games, and I know we had some middle school students go to, but I didn't have the number for that. Laurel Fine Arts we had our choir concert. They went caroling. Band had their concert. We actually had 1 student represent Laurel at PMEA this year. And then our art club actually did a paint and snack fundraiser in the cafeteria one night. We had a lot of support, Spartans supporting others this December. Our teachers and staff worked with Project HOPE, which stands for Helping Other People in Every Way. They went and bought the Christmas presents for families, for students. They don't know who they're buying for. They know that they are our students and our families, but they're generous. They get a wish list. They go and they purchase everything with their own money, wrap it, and the Friday before break, thanks to Santa Rich Jones, he helped me. We filled up the back of a van, pretty full. Yeah, the whole from front to back. He was the only one I could fit in it, and he delivered it so that they could get to the families. Student Council Porter Caring raised over $9,000 for Children's Hospital this month. Our middle school house, I just can't say enough about what they worked on and went through. There were 9 different groups worked on projects purchased through district monies from Laurel Community Foundation, grants, donations from the staff and community. Just real quick, I'll read. They potted 50 succulent plants and decorated the pots for Meals on Wheels throughout the clients in the county so that it could be delivered to them for Christmas. They created 30 care packages for cancer patients at UPMC Hillman. each containing 2 to 3 notes of encouragement, and there was actually a letter to the editor in the paper on that. They decorated over 50 ornaments for patients at Quality Life Services. They wrote out dozens of Christmas cards to accompany the ornaments for them. They wrote letters to active duty soldiers. They collected and donated dozens of books, new and gently used, with handmade bookmarks to the Arise shelter. They created 30 well-stocked backpacks for the homeless veterans in Lawrence County. And they collected and donated dozens of pet supplies and cleaning supplies to the Lawrence County Humane Society. We were able to go drop that off. And obviously, you know that we had the MAC tournament this weekend. We did have 2 varsity champions that were first place, Colton Carlson and Maggie Alfera, and 2 4 junior high, Katie Cheeseman, Isabella Klein, Gavin Webb, and Jeff Rest. And we had quite a few additional awards that were given out. Very productive month for our students.
Any questions for Mrs. Thomas?
And Mr. Swerbley is on, so he can do his too.
Mr. Swerve?
Hi, everybody. So kind of go off of what Mrs. Columbus and Mr. Leip said. Coming into the middle of the year here, we had our Q2 progress reports. We completed our second benchmark testing, and we'll be having our data meetings at the elementary here tomorrow. Lawrence County Brass did an assembly for us this year. We also, hello?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. We also had our holiday band and chorus concert, and we paired that with the tree spectacular, make it one night. We've been trying to do that with the events at the elementary so parents can come out in one night and see a lot of different things. And of course, we also had our holiday party.
Any questions for Mr. Swerve? Thank you, Dan. Dr. Lee.
All right, thank you. All right, start off with great news. We received, and I just got the notification too, we received a $5,000 grant through PARS that will help fund some of the innovation in Mr. Walzer's classes, specifically a drone academy and, custom keyboard building and so forth. So some really nice things just to add into what Mr. Walzer is already doing. Right along that line, just been doing a lot of budget planning, sitting in a lot of demos, and really just trying to get all my ducks in a row for February. So on our January 6th in service, we had our second session of professional development, targeted professional development for our staff regarding artificial intelligence. It was absolutely well received. And one of the things we tried to do is just have some practical strategies that our staff could implement immediately. And really, we've been looking at the pedagogy behind it and the way to approach it and how they can use it for a form of creation as opposed to just say, hey, I'm going to use AI to write an essay for me. So one of the things that came out of that is that we're going to form an AI committee, much like we did with DLA, much like we did with professional development, etc. UBD. So we will have, a group of our of stakeholders together, comprised of administrators, comprised of teachers, and I'd actually like to pull a couple students in too to have some student agency in that committee as well. So really cool stuff that happened. I'll give you one example. Mr. Dobbins back with his elementary students, they used a program called Suno, and they created and produced some of their own unique music. So it was just really neat to see young kids be able to do it. We're just scratching the surface. We're just getting started. But in planning and collaborating with Mr. Rich, we really wanted to do something. We didn't want to just throw it out there and say, hey, figure it out yourselves. We wanted to have some support for staff because it's not going anywhere. And we need to show our staff the syntax behind it and how it can be used in a productive fashion. So one of the things I did was create a hub, and you'll see the link there, and I'll show you real quick. I just created a hub that pretty much is a one-stop shop for about everything and anything they could want. Because there are a lot of different tools and basically just about everything and anything. Just a quick list of what it is, the tool, what it does, and why we use it. There's something for music. There's something for images. We even went through the point where we'll put prompts out there to help and assist our staff. So We're dipping our toes in the water, storming. We're absolutely storming, Norman to performing. We are very much in the storming phase right now, but it's been extremely positive, and I'm really excited about where I believe the future holds with this tool. So, last thing I just want to mention, I wasn't responsible for this, but I attended it. It was amazing. Mr. Ketzel, Mr. Wypeck, and Mr. Walzer, they had a Plastivan event prior to Christmas break, and it was incredible. It was an opportunity for our students to see real life examples of how they can leverage that medium. And I'll tell you what, when I was in there watching the kids, they were engaged, they were excited, and they were doing everything from taking straws and so forth and spears and pushing them through a rubber balloon. It was amazing, through balloons. So the kids really liked it. They left there very practical and excited. So just a kudos to Mr. Ketzel, Mr. Wypeck, and Mr. Walzer for putting that together. It was very meaningful. That's all I have.
Interesting. Any questions for Dr. Lee? Mrs. Conrad.
At the end of the calendar year, that kicks off quarterly reporting for all of the payroll taxes as well as all of our grants and title programs. So I'm working on those, and also triggers WH preparations, so we can start that process and get those out to everybody as soon as we can. And budget for the next year, so that also kicks off in January. I know Mr. Lake is going to address it with his staff next week. And we'll start with our state of Laurel next month. So we'll have some groundwork to get laid so we can start the budget process. The ethics forms that are in front of you are due back at some point. We bring back next meeting, that'd be great, or turn them now, that's fine. I think Mrs. Nicholson filled them out as much as she could for previous years, or if she has. Last thing is, at your places, there's a freedom center. You copy your lease summary, and we'll go through that. Dr. Lee and I went through the process together, and we'll go through that when we get to our agenda.
Mr. Rich.
Yeah, so we came back with the faculty. We celebrated. We are number one breakfast. All the PSSA scores 3 through 8 across the state became public, and we want to share with you why we feel we believe that we are the highest achieving 3 through 8 school district in Lawrence County. So you have this sent to you. But where we got this data was this is every school, every test, and how they rank. So last year, 3rd grade ELA, we came in 6th. What I told that group was, I said, Jordan didn't win the title every year. You might remember we were 3 or 4 in a row in 3rd grade. But then you can see 4th grade, we came in 1st. 5th grade, we came in 1st. And I'm not going to go through all 14 tests. What I'm telling you is this is the receipt. But out of 14 different tests, how many did we place in the top 3? I mean, I'll get to that.
All 13 out of 14. The only one we didn't was the one you mentioned.
There you go. So the first one. All right. So, shut this down instead. Okay. All right. So again, we were in 7th and 8th grade. Number 1 was in ELA and in science. 7th and 8th grade. If we weren't first, we were 2nd. 8th grade ELA. 7th grade math. 8th grade math. Elementary. Grade 4, ELA and math. Grade 5, ELA and math. Grade 6, ELA and math. Elementary, 2nd and 3rd places. Grade 4, science. Grade 3, math. So Laurel Elementary was tops in the county by having the highest building score, according to the Future Ready, or the performance index for the Future Ready Comprehensive Planning Portal. We had the highest ELA achievement in Lawrence County. We had the highest math achievement in Lawrence County. So if you take every first place and give it a 5, if you take every second place and give it a 3, you take every third place and give it a 1, you can see that by a significant margin, you use Olympic scoring, and I get it, we're crowning ourselves, but this is the metric that we use to do so, is, and why we believe that we are the top performing school district in Lawrence County. I am happy to discuss the pros and cons of the measure. I don't think anybody is necessarily a state assessment fan, but it is the rule of the game. And quite frankly, I give our teachers credit, our kids credit for performing in those circumstances. What that tells me is the written plan, the curriculum is aligned to the test. What that tells me is that the instruction is aligned to the plan. And what that tells me is that the experience, i.e. the assessment, is proof, is evidence, is our receipt that our kids are learning. So as far as I'm concerned, we are the champions. So we had 2 custom omelet bars for the teachers. Not for nothing, it takes a lot of ingredients, not only to make an omelet, but to achieve a couple things. First of all, and I told the faculty since I got here that the Laurel School District is set up to score. We're more than our scores, don't get me wrong. How about all that stuff we just did on the middle school houses, right? We're more than our scores, but we're not less. So as far as that goes, indicators such as poverty, such as special ed rate, directly impact achievement. So if you look at the Lawrence County schools, we have, and Mr. Redfoot loves this fact, we are the second richest school district in Lawrence County relative to having the second lowest economically disadvantaged population in Lawrence County. And also through a lot of good work, and it's being continued under Leslie Leghorn here, we have an 11%, give or take, according to our latest Penn data, identification rate. That doesn't mean we don't support students. If you got an extra couple of hours, ask her about the MTSS process. If you want to see some great work, go into our Title I rooms, watch Missy Armstrong, what she's doing, and preventing kids from getting there in the first place. And then you can attest to the services that our kids get from a very committed staff. So we feel we are appropriately identified. So if you look, there are at least approximately half the districts in Lawrence County that have a 45% economically disadvantaged rate or greater. Elwood alumni, you remember what it was by chance?
It was right around 50 when we left, I think.
And growing, not shrinking, right? So what Willard Daggett will tell you, and he's an international educational researcher, here's a statement of the obvious. As poverty goes up, what happens to achievement? Achievement goes down. So if you go back to the receipt that we brought and you look at some of the poorest districts in Lawrence County, they are not necessarily set up to score. Every kid in every district in Lawrence County can learn. Every kid in every district can grow 1 year in 1 year's time. That's a fair assessment. But we have an obligation to do what we have given the circumstances that we have. So based upon our economically disadvantaged rate, based upon our low identification rate, and based upon a homogeneous population, those are all academic indicators that set up the score. Now, having said that, just because you have a population doesn't mean it's going to happen on its own. So let's give the 74 or so teachers in the Laurel School District some credit for saying, hey, we've got something here and let's make the most of it. And then finally, as your child can attest to, who's complaining about the test, even though the tests are not the greatest thing that these kids do, they take it seriously. It's a reflection of they know that teachers now get scored on that, and they have a good relationship with their teachers. So I give our students credit for doing that. So as long as they're keeping score, I'm going to try to win. So I want to thank you as parents. Because we have a lot of parents on this board. I want to thank you as a board. I will be the first to say we're more than the scores, but I'll also say that we aren't less than either. So thank you for everything that we do. But in this particular case, at Laurel, we achieve, and we think we achieve better than anybody else. And it's on board docs for anybody to look at, Mr.
I'm very impressed. I'm happy. I always question all these test scores, how they come up with them, but you know what? When you're at the top, you got to be an idiot to question it. So, no, I think our teachers and students, you know, especially coming through COVID. I look at a lot of these other schools that are still struggling behind us.
Yes.
So, no, I'm
Well, you were here. I think we did a little different than everybody else.
yeah.
We turned into the stage, so you know.
Was there, Mr. Mangino, anything for me?
No.
Item 3, any reports from standing committees of the board? Strict supervisor reports we just did. Item 5, questions, comments from the floor relative to agenda. Item 6. Motion to approve the minutes from the September 4th, 2024 reorganization meeting of the board and the December 4th regular meeting.
Second.
Motion by Dave Goose, second by Mr. Demo. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. The treasurer's report, Mr. Goose.
It is recommendation of the superintendent of the board to approve the treasurer's report as of December 31st, 2024, as outlined below, and also the MP investment report. Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hammerschmidt, second by Mr. Minow. Any discussion on A or B? Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. The bill listings.
Okay. The recommendation of the superintendent of the board to approve general fund bill listings for January 8th, 2025 in the amount of $81,319.76 and checks written annually in the month of December 2024 in the amount of $1,165,482.79 for a total of $1,246,802.55. And I would like to include item B, the list of food services fund bills, and I put that before the motion, please.
Motion by Mr. Hammerschmidt, second by Mrs. Aldridge. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 9, personnel. Mrs. Sissery.
Is the recommendation of the superintendent, for items A, retirement and resignation for Ms. Michelle Rogers, effective February 3rd, 2025. B, musical assistant director, approved Mrs. Jessica Miles for assistant director for 24-25 school year at a rate of $2,000. C, instructional special education paraprofessional, approved Ms. Summer Kirkpatrick as an instructional special education paraprofessional for 24-25 school year. D, disability FMLA graduates for town of interim beginning January 6th through January 3rd, 2025. E, professional development workshops. Mrs. Paul Lennox. F, the issues of volunteer non-instructional substitute listings for 2024-2025. I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mrs. Sissery, second by Mr. Hill. Any discussions on motion A through? Any discussion on the motions? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. Item, committee of the board, committee of the whole. Item A is the first reading of policy 610. Item B is adoption. This will be the second reading of policy 005, 308, and 823. No.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Censari, second by Mr. Limo. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. Item C is the Pennsylvania Cybersecurity Center Agreement. Is effective August 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Item D is high school graduation plan and middle school course catalogs. E, Act 1 resolution for the 25-26 school year, indicating that the middle school district will not raise any taxes for the 25-26 fiscal year in excess of the Act 1 adjusted income of 5.4. Item F, approve the attached list of cafeteria a la carte pricing effective January 1st, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hill, second by Mrs. Censari. Any discussion on any of the motions?
Pepsi product. We said Pepsi.
On all parts.
There are some things that are on the cert a la carte. Well, like Mountain Dew.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Grades 9 through 12. I
Yeah.
don't believe that's for middle school.
right.
It's not the smile bot, right? There are worse things, I suppose.
Any discussion on motions? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. Item G is approve the attached occupational advisory board meeting minutes dated October 17th, 2024. Consolidation of bank accounts to approve the consolidation of First National Bank of PA Analysis Bank account into the First National Bank of PA Money Market Bank account. Special Ed Council approved the rate increases for Andrews Price Special Ed Council at $150 per hour had been $140.
One question, it's not on there, but it jogged my memory, the BOAG. I had a parent come up to me from Slick Rock and said that she was under the impression that we were gonna vote or something. We have a pending student coming here for next year.
Yeah, we haven't brought it to your, because they have to approve it at Slippery Rock first.
Okay, all right.
I met with the parents and everything. As soon as Slippery Rock sends us their paperwork, we'll put it on
Yeah,
for us.
he seemed like a good chap,
Yeah,
so.
I met him.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Coop, second by Mr. Leno. Any discussion? Any negatives? Abstentions? All in favor? I did have one question. Can I get a hard copy of the course selection?
On your, it was at your desk.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I thought about that. You told me last year, I didn't forget.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Item J is the copier printer lease agreement. And that's what,
Jen and Dr. Lee.
I'll start. We asked, I believe, 6 copier and printer companies for price quotes for replacing our 10 copiers that we had in the district. 8 of them are still under lease, 2 we own, and we received 5 back. So I listed them on the paper that your place is in order of the total of their lease payment. We went through this, I hope, with a fine tooth comb. We spoke to each company numerous times. We initially thought we would replace them 1 for 1, like we have. Then after some conversation with Dr. Lee and I had, we thought, we already own these 2. Maybe we just hang on to them. They're not costing us a whole lot. Let's see if the companies can maintain them for us instead of getting new ones and having to pay for them. Well, that prompted each of them to offer us not new, but newer recertified models that they could support because they can't support a different company's machine. So we asked each company for that, since that's what people, and each of them wanted that. So they all came back with 2 machines. Both of them are over in the high school. One is in the high school office and one is in the guidance office, that were either refurbished and provided at no cost. And one company in particular offered us a brand new machine using some incentives provided by their manufacturer, which is Xerox. So we'll have 9, if we go with that that company, which is Condoc, we would have 9 brand new machines and 1 refurbished. And they all line up with what all of the companies that provided us quotes lined up with what we asked for as far as page speed and the prints per minute and the capacity of the sets and everything like that. So like I said, I ordered them in order of cost. So Conduct did come in with the lowest price. Toshiba was next. And I will say that the one thing that we didn't, that Dr. Lee and I didn't care for about their offer, recommendation, was we have 2 larger copiers one in each school, and they are running a lot. So he wanted to put 2 smaller machines in the slots rather than do 1 large one. We were very concerned about them fitting, but first of all, they assured us that they would make them fit. It may not be side by side, but it would still be something that would. But we didn't want more machines, so that was going to add to the total. We get up to 12. We didn't really want more. There you go. So, and then the third company is Direct Image, which is our current incumbent police partner, and we have no issues with Direct Image. Not any. If we would go away from them, and my recommendation would be to go to Conduct based on price alone. Their references did check out. All of the companies had a 4-hour window for repair time. We know through experience Direct Image is much quicker than that. All of them assured us that they had a technician in the local area. I didn't ask for a mileage radius on that, but we also know that there is close. Anyway, like I said, all of the recommendations were good. Everybody said that their Conduct people show up and there's no problems. Each of the companies used a cooperative purchasing agreement to provide us with pricing, whether it was CoStars or Keystone Purchasing Network, or a new one I hadn't heard of before called Qualys. So we're members of all of those, or will be part of. There's no cost to being so on the agenda, I wrote the motion in order for you folks to know this evening, knowing that this is it's a 5-year lease. All of them are the same. And the total cost, as you can see at the bottom of the back of the page, bottom of the page, it's a big expense. So over 5 years, but believe it or not, it's lower than what we're currently paying for less machines. All of them, except the very last column, which is crazy to me. Which makes me wonder about their manufacturing, all of their manufacturing quality. But as long as they're maintaining them for the 5 years. So that's, Dr. Lee, do you want to add anything?
No, you summarized it perfectly.
We spent a lot of time on this, and I think I thought we did the best that we could with as far as getting the information from them and getting them about as close as we could as far as apples now.
They're hard to figure out because you've got copies per minute, you've got color, you've got everything going on. When I first looked at this, I mean, I guess when I'm looking at Xerox at 116, they are so much lower than everybody else. I mean, I'm in business. I've got bids before. Usually, when there's that big of a difference, red flags go up to me. And I remember when we did high school, boys, dugouts years ago. Jeff would remember, and said too, we got one bid, it was so low, but we went with it. Well, it wasn't 5 years later, we ended up putting new dug hits, especially after they blew the roof off, tore a hole in our trap. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of, I'd like to, don't get me wrong, I don't like to spend a lot of money. But when you're talking $27,000 difference, and everybody else is way higher than it, there's just something that makes me a little uncomfortable. The other thing I look at is service. We've had with Direct Image, and the owner is a local taxpayer. I've always liked to support local people, local companies. You all remember I voted to spend, I think, $80,000 more on our roofing project just to get somebody that's down the road that has skin in the game, that if we have a problem, we can get a hold of it. But I also realize it's a money issue, so. We'll stay where we're at.
I don't know. I've always liked someone locally accountable. I mean, you know, you go back to Slip Rock Roofing. I remember people were pitching. They're like, how long are they going to be up there? I was like, as long as they're throwing material on the roof, what do we care? You know, like, they just kept pumping stuff up there. You know, it was one of the things they should be dumping. I was like, you know, the last thing I want them to do is, like, if that roofing company was from, let's say, Akron, Ohio, yeah, they want to get there and get out. But someone that is local and knows that they're going to be accountable and have to drive by the building how many times a day. It's a lot harder to do shoddy work when you gotta literally look at the building multiple times a day. So I think that goes into a lot. I don't know.
Full disclosure, for me, it's Direct Image is my husband's company, so depending on how that goes, I will be abstaining because I don't, you know, but full transparency, you know, I wanted to throw that out there. I can't speak for the other companies. I mean, I know they're reliable, but I just make sure that's.
So there's no issues with Comstock from other schools. They're reliable. I don't see spending $27,000 more dollars. That doesn't make sense to me for the freshman. Can't just throw money. Makes no sense to me.
Someone at home who spent a lot of time with those machines, the comment I got is we're crazy to go away from where we're at. The service was there immediately. Every time they needed it. Keeps the school running.
Well, that is, when the machine's down, you know, people that should be working, don't work. So, I mean, it's. Oh, yeah. What if we vote on, make it some, we'll have to make a motion on which.
I motion to stay with Direct Image that we have.
We make a motion. I second it, and then we vote on that. Is that how that works?
She's just gonna fill in the
I
blanks.
don't think we've ever done a fill-in.
Motion by Mr. Kuth, second by Mr. Neva.
Before you vote, you wanna read it since you have to fill in the blanks, Jen? So-
Sure. Approving agreement with Direct Image for a lease of, 8 copiers throughout the district in the amount of, right now, $23.90. $23.90 per month. This includes 2 refurbished copiers at no cost. I can make that one.
Yeah, I think we better.
Okay.
Short bus.
Stash it.
Where do we left off? This brings our first vote to Mr. Hill.
Once again, let's.
The motion is approve an agreement with Direct Image, the release of 8 copiers throughout the district at the amount of $2,390 for 60 months.
Yes.
Mr. Coon,
Yes.
Mr. Nemo,
Yes.
Mr. Redfoot,
Yes.
Mrs. Eldridge. Yes. And Mr. Hammerschmidt.
I don't think they're being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, so I have to vote no.
Motion carries 6-1. I'm sorry, 5-1. And one abstention. Yes.
I won one.
5-1-1.
And no hard feelings, Jeff. I know how you think and you know.
It's water under the bridge, sir. That's how we go. You know, we box, we win, we lose. I'll buy you a beer.
You and I both know how it works. You know?
Jeff, how many friends you need to get something done? 4. There you go. There you go. That, if you haven't been here, that's like a 9-year running joke.
When you got pissed off, I answered, yeah, boy, you need 5.
I've heard it in multiple tones of voice too.
It's like water still flows under the bridge.
The last motion is K field trip student activity proof. Miss Amanda Long, Jessica Miles, and 21 students to Cranax December 16th. Oh, okay. Any discussion on the motion? Anything? I didn't. I need a motion.
There's one on the back. There's another field trip on the back.
Oh, Mr. Matt Kirkland, Mr. Bill Holman, personally for the junior student national fair, college fair at the Village Convention Center, January 28th. So that was motion by Mr. Cruz, second. Any discussion on the motion? Any negative votes? Any abstentions? All in favor? Motion carries. Is there any needs of business?
So moved.
Good. Any discussion on the motion? Negative votes, abstentions? All in favor? Motion is adjourned.
Real quick, it's not anything on the